Hi, my name is Danny Haifong, and I am a weekly contributor to Black Agenda Report, as well as the co-author with Roberto Servent of the book American Exceptionalism and American Innocence, A People's History of Fake News from the Revolutionary War to the War on Terror. I am a socialist. I've been a radical journalist for the last 5 years. I am also an activist. I've been involved in labor unions and anti-war organizations. And I come speaking to you today to talk about a project that I hope will be launched sometime in the new year 2020, where Black Agenda Report will do a YouTube show. And Margaret Kimberly, editor of Black Agenda Report, as well as myself, weekly contributor, will hopefully do monthly programs, brief programs, providing analysis of the current events, developments, and struggles that oppressed people, working class people, and especially black people are facing today. And that is our hope, is to provide an analysis, not just a report on the news. Because as much as we need to know what is going on in the world, we need to know how to understand it. We need to know more than just how to interpret it. We need to know what we need to do about it. So we will be providing that outlet hopefully in the new year. But right now, we need your help. Neither Margaret nor I are particularly adept at technology. Even though I have a Twitter, I have an Instagram, I have a Facebook, YouTube seems to require something a little bit more. And so any suggestions that you have in making this channel successful, making it so it will reach the people we want it to reach, those who are thirsty for a progressive and radical alternative to this system, those who want to learn more about what ideological and political organizing is necessary to overturn this unjust, imperialist, and racist system, is welcome. So please, if you have any suggestions, feel free to communicate with me. This is my personal YouTube channel, The Left Lens with Danny Haifong. I'll be using this channel to test out my own technology as well as what I believe is necessary to begin this process. And so I'll be communicating with all of you, getting your suggestions, and hopefully we will be building this together. And so first I want to talk about Hong Kong. Since 2014, the National Endowment for Democracy has been funding opposition groups in Hong Kong to the tune of $29 million. And that money has gone to people like Jeremy Lai, Joshua Wong, oligarchs who want to see mainland China destabilized. And why do they want to see mainland China destabilized? Because China right now represents the counterweight to U.S. imperialism in the world. And as radicals, as progressives, and as leftists, we need to reject that. We should not be standing side by side with oligarchs. We have to be able to understand this, but this takes a class analysis because too often protest movements are just seen as protest movements, when really it's what the class character of those protest movements represent which matters the most. Meaning that if we have a protest movement comprising of working class people, of oppressed people, of people who are suffering at the hands of the oppressor class, the capitalist class, that is a protest movement we need to support. But if we are talking about a protest movement of the rich, of the ruling elite, of people who are waving flags that represent colonialism, the British flag, the Union Jack, and the US flag, then we need to really reconsider what a protest movement is and begin to understand that these aren't our friends. And as you all may know, China is the target of some of the most vicious, if not the most vicious, orientalist, racist attacks by U.S. imperialism. We see that with the Hong Kong situation. The NBA recently has invested a lot of money in the mainland Chinese economy. Right now, the NBA is holding preseason games in China. And lo and behold, the corporate media, as well as some NBA players even, have expressed solidarity with the Hong Kong protesters, while others, like Steve Kerr and certain elements of the executive class in the NBA, have rejected it. So there's been a whole lot of controversy about that. Twitter is going crazy. People are talking about how the Hong Kong protesters need to be stood with, and how this represents how the NBA is, of course, just some corporate institution. And I agree with that. The NBA, I am a big basketball fan, but I understand that the NBA is a militarist organization. Largely, the military uses the NBA to recruit and to conduct public relations before games in order to expand its apparatus that has 800 military bases around the world. I understand that. But that's not the critique here. To say that the NBA needs to stand in solidarity with the Hong Kong protesters merely reinforces the U.S. military's ultimate agenda, the Rand Corporation's ultimate agenda, the corporatists and capitalists and monopolies and executives who are unhappy about what's going on in China, where wages are rising and where Chinese capital and state-owned enterprises are competing on the world stage with American capital. That's really what is at issue here. And so the United States has latched on to billionaires to basically create a so-called color revolution, or a protest movement that is really in defense of the wealth and of the free market capitalist economy, which produces the inequality that's seen in Hong Kong, which even produces the inequality seen in China, which China is very well aware of. And China has put in measures, anti-poverty measures, to try to combat that. But this is exactly what the United States doesn't want to see. It doesn't want to see an independent, sovereign, socialist market economy, as many people may disagree with me, but please engage. I want to let you know that China will not bow down to the United States, and that the NBA has every right to do business in China. And China is ultimately going to be what determines how the NBA operates. Hong Kong protesters and NBA executives and Western Twitter accounts cannot be that. Because ultimately, if we are on the side of the real left, of working class people, of oppressed people, we have to be for self-determination. And so I hope that you all will join us in this journey as we try to create this channel and make it so Black Agenda Report is visible over on YouTube, and that the message of the black left and the radical left that Black Agenda Report ultimately represents is present for all of you and helps inform you in your own struggles for liberation. Thank you. Take care. Again, this is Danny Haifong, The Left Lens. Peace.